Allison, here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from the Vatican. Pope Francis held an audience with thousands of young children, parents, nurses, and volunteers from Bambino Gesu Hospital in Rome. In his remarks in the Paul VI Audience Hall, the Pope denounced corruption in the healthcare industry, saying the worst cancer in a hospital like this is corruption. The Pope said there is so much business involved in healthcare that people must learn to say no to corruption. Surrounded by some of the young patients from the hospital, the Pope listened to testimonies and questions from hospital staff and former patients. He told them that hope is the fuel of Christian life that doctors and nurses are called to give to young children who are suffering. And being close to them is the medicine so the heart does not freeze and become numb to their pain. The Pope thanked doctors and nurses who save lives not only through their skill, but also by bringing joy, happiness, and hope to those in need. In news now from around the country, in a follow-up to a story we had for you earlier this week, Ohio Governor John Kasich signed a bill that bans abortion in the state after 20 weeks of pregnancy, but also vetoed a bill that would have made abortion illegal when a fetal heartbeat can be detected. The Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act, or SB 127, became law 90 days after the December 13th signing. Current Ohio law bans abortions after a fetus has begun its 20th week of gestation, unless a doctor determines that the fetus is not viable outside the womb. The new law eliminates the viability test and simply bans abortions past 20 weeks. The current exception for the women's health still applies. The governor said SB 127 is the best, most legally sound and sustainable approach to protecting the sanctity of human life. Speaking on the veto of the fetal heartbeat bill, Governor Kasich said he felt the provisions in the bill are clearly contrary to the Supreme Court of the United States' current rulings on abortion. The Supreme Court ruled in January that North Dakota officials could not enforce the state's fetal heartbeat law. A federal judge overturned a similar law in Arkansas in 2014. More news now from the Vatican. The Pope's birthday is December 17th, and many people wonder what the Pope does on his birthday and also ways in which they can send best wishes on his special day. Let's go to the Vatican now with Rome Reports to find out.
Pope Francis is not a fan of grand celebrations, which is why his 80th birthday will be remembered very simply, by completing daily tasks and attending official meetings. He will meet the President of the Republic of Malta, also with the Prefect for the Congregation of Bishops, the Bishop of Chur, Switzerland, and the community of Noma Delphia. The only special thing the Pope will do on this day will be a Mass with all the cardinals residing in Rome. It will be at 8 a.m. in the Pauline Chapel in the Apostolic Palace. On the other hand, the Vatican has created an email address where the public can wish the Pope happy birthday. In English, the address is popefrancis80@vatican.va. They also created a hashtag, Pontifex80.
At the Pope's general audience this past week, he focused his message on the meaning of Christmas. During the audience, he was also serenaded by the large crowd singing happy birthday to him. He told them the well wishes for his birthday may not be a good thing. Catholic News Service has more.
Ma vi dirò una cosa che vi farà ridere. Nella mia terra, fare gli auguri in anticipo porta la gliela. E chi fa gli auguri in anticipo è un gettatore. Vedendo il piccolo bambino di Betlemme, i piccoli del mondo sapranno che la promessa si è compiuta. Il messaggio si è realizzato. In un bimbo appena nato, bisognoso di tutto, avvolto in fasce ed è posto in una mangiatoia, e riaccusa tutta la potenza del Dio che salva. Bisogna aprire il cuore. Il Natale è un giorno per aprire il cuore. Bisogna aprire il cuore a tanta piccolezza che è lì in quel bambino e tanta meraviglia che è lì. È la meraviglia del Natale a cui ci stiamo preparando con speranza in questo tempo di avvento.
Staying at the Vatican released the 2017 World Day of the Sick papal message calling for new motivation to achieve a culture of respect for life, health, and the environment. In the message, Pope Francis encouraged a renewal of efforts to defend the integrity of life through a correct approach to bioethics and to protect the disabled and the environment. He also thanked those who care for the sick, the elderly, and those who suffer or are in need, underlying the importance of treating everyone with respect and care because, the Pope said, every person is and always remains a human being. The World Day of the Sick is celebrated every year on February 11th on the Feast of Our Lady of Lourdes. And finally in the news, Bishop Edward Burns of the Diocese of Juneau, Alaska, was named this past week by Pope Francis to be the new head of the Diocese of Dallas, Texas. Bishop Burns, who has been head of the Diocese of Juneau since 2009, succeeds Cardinal Kevin Farrell, who is now the prefect of the new Vatican office for the laity, family, and life. The 59-year-old Bishop Burns is going from a diocese with one Catholic school and a total population of 75,000, of which 10,000 are Catholic, to the Dallas Diocese, which is one of the fastest-growing dioceses in the country and home to 70 parishes, many of whose congregations swell beyond 10,000, and a diocese which has approximately 15,000 students in diocesan and private Catholic schools. Bishop Burns will be installed as the 8th Bishop of Dallas February 9th at the Cathedral Shrine of the Virgin of Guadalupe in Dallas. And that is all the information we have for you this time. I'm Kevin Nelson. Don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV Network.